post-game show coming to you live from Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the west of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
Our CHGO White Sox community leader. You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. You can follow the show at CHGO_White Sox. Are being produced today by Sarah.
Hi.
Hello. And we'll be later joined by CHGO White Sox beat writer Vinnie Duber, live from Guaranteed Rate Field. You can hit that thumbs up button if you're hanging out with us on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing to our CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We also have the 85, a brand new podcast with Chicago Bear, Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
Probably, again, emphasis on Chicago Bear, one of the 53 men on the team. You also have the brand new launch of DLLS.
Amazing.
An all-city production. We are now in Dallas. So you can find us in Phoenix. You can find us in Denver. You can find us in Dallas. You can find us in Philly. And, of course, you can find us in Chicago. So welcome to the brand Dallas.
Not a market yet that I disagree with the actual city. I mean, as a Chicagoan, you know, if they brought in like Kansas City or Cleveland or Detroit or Minnesota, I'm like, man, these are terrible. These are all, and like when we're talking about each other in the Slack channels, which ALLCITY has a Slack, like the Philadelphia and Dallas people go wild because of the Eagles, Cowboys. The Phoenix and the Denver people go wild for the Suns and the Nuggets. Same thing with the Nuggets and the Mavericks. So we're like, hey guys, and they were like ranking the basketball towns between the 5 cities, and they're like, well, it's the Nuggets, then it's the Mavericks. I was like, the 4 of you markets don't have as many championships as the 6 with the Bulls. I know we're in a bad spot, but calm down. But welcome, Dallas. And today, our own people did it to us and put up that goddamn Robin Ventura thing with the Texas Rangers.
I think it's Kevin. Maybe it's the very young Pat Norton who thinks that, you know, only things happen in Twitter highlights, that posted the only thing that happened or they could think of in the Texas-Chicago rivalry was Robin Ventura getting punched by Nolan Ryan. Just to remind those two again, because I think that's who runs the social, at least for those posts. I don't think that was Emma. Imagine if Emma remembers Nolan Ryan punching Robin Ventura. We literally did the top 25 games of Chicago history. Yeah. And I don't think Mark Burley was a top 25 one, but he was a top 10 one for us.
It was discussed in the meeting that we had for the top 25, which I was in.
Ayo. I mean, what are we doing here? But yeah, you bring up, you know, Denver has Phoenix, Philly has Dallas.
Yep.
It's like the Lawrence Welk SNL bit. And then there's us. And then there's CHGO.
We got no one.
Just ate a bird from a cage. So hit that thumbs up button if you haven't yet. And if you're watching on Roku, welcome. I can't believe we're on TV. We're in someone's home right now.
Like somebody's watching that SNL clip on Roku and then switching over to us.
There you go.
We're not Kristen Wiig.
No, we are not.
Slightly worse.
We are coming to you live after a White Sox loss 6-3 to the Detroit Tigers, and it's not just another loss for the 101 loss Chicago White Sox. It is the 5th mopping or vacuuming of the season, whatever you prefer, whatever terms you like, whether you're on the Cespedes family barbecue side of the mopping. We here at CHGO came up with our own cleaning terminology. We like to think of it as a vacuuming. Maybe a 5-game series would be the deep mopping. But 5 times in 2024, the White Sox, in all 4 games of a series against a team, have lost every single one of those games. That is 20 losses right there.
Just out of the gate right there. And
have you had fun?
No, it's been terrible. Cespedes Family Barbecue have been keeping track of every single mopping, which is the 4-game sweep of the year. There's been 14. 1-4 this year in the whole major leagues. The White Sox, as Sean just told you, have 5 of those. 5! Including 3 versus the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place teams in the AL Central. They haven't been mopped by the Cleveland Guardians. They won't be mopped by Cleveland Guardians this year because they only have a 3-game set left with them.
Take that, Cleveland.
They're 5-5 versus Cleveland. We're actually battling versus the Guardian.
We might be 3-33 against Kansas City, Minnesota, and Detroit, but we got your number, Cleveland.
See, that's what pisses me off the most. This Detroit team is not good. I said it yesterday, but I'll say it again. without playing the White Sox, I think Detroit is 57-65 on the year. With playing the White Sox, they're 500 with the 9 wins they have this year in the 10 games they played them already. They're not good. There's no one on that team you're like, man, Kerry Carpenter or Parker Meadows. Trash like that.
Sarah, can you scroll up real quick? I take a Parker Meadows.
I mean, yeah, because we're shitty.
Well, yeah, for sure. Roaring Fork 78's a Tigers fan here. I just want to put myself in the shoes of Roaring Fork. If I was a Tiger fan, you just threw out that idea, those 9 wins and put them at 500.
Yeah.
Imagine if we were the White Sox in 4th place and the Tigers were 45 games behind first place. I would be so thankful that we had Detroit on the schedule, So, I mean, hey, Detroit's celebrating. Wins are wins. Doesn't matter if it's against the worst team in Major League Baseball. You got to win those games, and they have. Cleveland hasn't won those games. Detroit's won those games.
Yeah, my guy Chris Castellani, who works up Detroit, used to work for Barstool up there. He's like, man, starting pitcher for the Tigers, Madden, today had a great game. I was like, he was all right, but he played the right team because I counted at least 4 meatballs that the White Sox did not distribute out into the seats at all. They were trash pitches. And, he's not a good pitcher. They just brought him up as they were talking about on the broadcast because they have to bring him up unless, to lose him or to risk him to be lost in the 40-man or the Rule 5 draft. So they had to bring him up to the 40-man to avoid some of that. So he played the White Sox. Good job, Ty Madden.
Good job.
I hope good Charlotte's going well.
Yeah, absolutely. Could you go back to Jay Fork's comment too there, Sarah? He said he felt the same way about Alan Trammell in 2003, and he was one of my favorite players as a child. I don't know what he's referring to, so Roaring Fork, if you could respond, because there is no Alan Trammell for this team.
He might be. I don't know if somebody had talked about, or maybe he was watching an old episode because Roku goes 24 hours. I know he's saying this on YouTube. He's saying on YouTube, but the only thing I could say is that he's like comparing Robin Ventura being a bad manager on the White Sox to Alan Trammell being a bad manager on the Tigers. That's the only thing I can, put 2 and 2 together. Or maybe somebody said something about AJ being the new manager eventually.
Maybe. But, I mean, Alan Trammell was there. AJ's never even been the manager.
Nope.
Anyways, on today's show, we will be talking about Davis Martin. He, for 5 innings, was pretty good. The White Sox had the lead going into the 7th inning. And I think for the 48th time this year, the Major League leading 48th time of 2024, the White Sox blew a lead. So, yay. I'm also going to talk about a topic from Sox Machine, stealing from Josh and Jim. Thanks, guys. They talked about the idea of Andrew Vaughn and Gavin Sheets being on the 2025 team. I got thoughts. I got opinions.
I know.
And then
I can't wait for this. You guys got to wait for that. It's going to be fire.
Andrew Benintendi hits his 14th homer. You've gotten paid. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Herb and I have just traded each other our wages back and forth over the past year. But even our pal Missy out on the streets saying that, you sweating a little bit? Now Benintendi's got 14 homers. I also, surprisingly, have thoughts on that. I understand that Trammell was the manager of the 2003 Tigers.
I understood that.
Who is the White Sox equivalent of Alan Trammell? Grady Sizemore never played for the White Sox.
Oh.
Grady Sizemore isn't a Hall of Famer like Alan Trammell. I mean, it's not Chris Getz. Chris Getz does not equate to Alan Trammell.
No.
It's not Jerry Reinsdorf. I don't know. So, I understand the Alan Trammell connection to the 2003 Tigers. What is Trammell's connection to the White Sox? Anyways, Vinny will be joining us because I didn't know that Nick Senzel was still on this team. I got to be honest with you. I took a week off, had no clue that Nick Senzel was still on this team, and they DFA'd him today.
And to your credit, I don't think Grady Sizemore had any idea that Nick Senzel was still on the team either.
He thought he was like a coach. Who? Like an assistant's coach.
Nick Senzel. Coach like, it's Senzel, but it's Senzel until further notice, sir. And by the way, get the fuck off my team. Ridiculous. Like, I remember when he started, when the White Sox picked him off waivers from the Nationals, I was like, why? This is no reason for this 30-year-old to be on the White Sox. He's been bad at the Reds, and now he's bad with the Nationals. There's no reason for that. There's a move today, and we'll get to Vinny's when Vinny comes on, about the infielder they picked up today, that makes a little bit more sense for the White Sox to do what they did today. The Nick Senzel move never made any sense, but we'll get to the move that the White Sox did make today when they did pick up a player that is a middle infielder and younger and has a glove. I don't think Nick Senzel even brought a glove when he came from the Nationals.
Yeah, hey, I mean, he played 3 games in August 4th, 5th, and then 19th. So, way to get your reps in, Nick Senzel. White Sox legend? Nick Senzel?
From here on out. Yeah, whenever I see him, and he has a great time after his White Sox career. I'm like, man, White Sox legend Nick Senzel with 10 home runs this year.
Yeah.
Wow,
Thank
amazing.
you to your contributions to the family, Nick Senzel.
Like Kevin Pillar, the retiring Kevin Pillar. We'll see.
He retired?
He will retire after this year, I think.
Oh. I mean, hey, if the Angels are going to give him more money, I don't think he's retiring.
Okay.
That guy seems like a ball player.
Oh,
hey, Kevin Pillar, you want to go get CTE in
I think I'm
center
conflating
field?
him with the other Kevin Kiermaier.
Oh.
Both good fielding center fielder people.
Yeah. All right.
Kevin Kiermaier is retiring.
AL East guys.
Yeah.
So we'll go to the roster release, and we'll touch on this deeper with Vinny, but Nick Senzel designated for assignment before today's game. Kai Bush was optioned to Charlotte and then recalled from Class A Charlotte. Our guy Sammy Peralta, who appeared in today's game. Why?
Yes, he did.
And infielder Brian Ramos, which is intriguing, and then also claimed off waivers from Houston, infielder Jacob Amayo. We'll get into that in just a bit. If you are hanging out with us, hit that thumbs up button. And we are getting close to a break, so I guess I don't really know how to sum up 101 losses like we did yesterday.
Yeah.
Again, 131 games. They had 100 losses. They play another game, they lose again. Same old story, same old shtick. I listened to a rant I did the beginning of August of 2022 when they were still, kind of going back and forth at 81 and 81. But Sarah, can you flash our predictions before this year? We are now at a point where every single one of our predictions are wrong. It's August 26th. This is from the day of opening day. So what, the 29th of March? 28th of March?
Yeah.
White Sox final record will be, Vinnie Duber says 71 and 91. Herb Lawrence says 68 and 94. I said 61 and 101. All of us said last place in the AL Central, and somehow all of us are wrong by August 26th.
By a lot. I will miss this prediction by at least 25 games. Minimum 25 games off of the 68 wins that I mercifully gave them. And I thought that was like, yeah, that's they should be better than the 61 and 101 team they were in 2023. They're not. They're not close to that. They're losing 20 games each year we're on this goddamn station. We can't do it next year. They can't just be 21 wins next year. Well, sorry. I don't want to say that because I said that when they're 81 and 81. And I said it when they're 61 and not 101. I don't know what they're going to be this year. They're 31 and 101 now. So, yeah, they could be 21 wins next year because think about this. Their best pitcher probably going away this offseason. Their best player, even though he's not playing that way, Luis Robert, probably going away after this year. And you'll be getting more of the Amayas of the world and the Gavin Sheets of the world and the Andrew Vaughns of the world next year. And if they still keep on doing what they did this year, ooh, friends, 21 wins will be generous.
And I didn't hear this directly, so I'm quoting P. Knowles on Twitter, Patrick Nolan of Sox Machine. So again, stealing content from Sox Machine. Way to go, me. Pat on the back here. But I believe that the broadcast said that fixing the bullpen would be the top priority for Chris Getz. And then he screenshots the lineup, and it's Nicky Lopez, Luis Robert Jr., who's likely gone, Andrew Benintendi, Andrew Vaughn, Gavin Sheets, Corey Lee, Dominic Fletcher, Lean Sosa, and Brooks Baldwin. I hope to God they spend some money. Because, hey, again, look at Kansas City. We're going to take a break in a second. Look at Kansas City.
Yep.
They're closing in, or they're at least competing for a spot in the AL Central. They lost 101 games. Yep. Obviously, the White Sox don't have a Bobby Witt, a star shortstop, but you think that maybe they have a star-ish, a potential star. I'll throw that caveat on there. Potential star in Luis Robert Jr. So just go spend money. Come on, go spend money.
But don't spend it on that bullpen.
No.
Never again.
No.
Never again. I don't want $8 million bullpen arms with that lineup. That means you'll lose, what, 40? You'll win 43 games next year.
Well, we lived and we learned.
Yeah.
And Rick Hahn said, after a great workout during the offseason, one of the players came into his office and said, "Don't trade that guy," about Romy Gonzalez. I mean, one of Chris Getz's first move after saying, "I don't like this team," is getting rid of Romy Gonzalez. And here's Romy Gonzalez on the Red Sox, probably the White Sox best hitter if he was on the team, with 109 OPS plus, a .8 WAR.
He was the glue.
Hey, I didn't mind getting rid of him, but just still, help. We need help. All right, let's take a break. We'll let you know about some of our great sponsors, like Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You could turn $10 into $1,000, and you could sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play 5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. And with week 1 coming up on September 8th, I believe, or September 4th, 1 Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on Prize Pick every week in September. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free wins. Don't miss on this deal because it's gone when September ends. So go check out our friends Prize Picks. It's available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia, and obviously Illinois. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CHGO and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CHGO on Prize Picks and get $50 off instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game.
When the weather gets warm, like today and probably tomorrow, just any beer won't do. You want something light, refreshing, and flavorful. Leinenkugel has flavor for every summer moment. It's the perfect companion for the great outdoors, the great American pastime, or a great night out with friends. And whenever I go to the ballpark, you know I'm grabbing myself one of these right here, a Leinenkugel Summer Shandy, because it's summer and it's delicious. But I know you're saying, Herb, I'm already sold. You don't have to sell me on Leinenkugel Summer Shandy. I've been drinking Leinenkugel Summer Shandy ever since it came out, and I got you. If you don't want to indulge in Leinenkugel Summer Shandy, or you want something different because Leinenkugel Summer Shandy has a natural lemonade flavor, you can try what I'm trying right now, Lakeside Cherry, because it has natural, real cherry juice. Or Grapefruit Shandy, which I tried earlier, with a natural white grapefruit flavor. And Honey Lemon Light with 99 calories and a sweet finish, plus classic crowd-pleasing brews like Leinenkugel's Light or Leinie Original. Flavor every summer moment with Leinenkugel, the official craft beer of the Chicago White Sox. Go to Leinie.com/CHGO to find your delivery options near you. That's LEINIE.com/CHGO. Or pick up Leinenkugels pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Leinenkugels, flavor the moment. Celebrate responsibly. The Jacob Leinenkugel Brewing Company, Chippewa Falls.
Yes. And we will get into the game that happened today. Sox lose 6-3. There was some interesting Davis Martin stuff that we will get to. Sarah, I sent you a graphic in Slack if you could get that together for us. But not surprisingly, Davis Martin probably left that game and thought, that's not a win.
No.
2-1 deficit. And here comes the White Sox bullpen, Jared Schuster, Justin Anderson, and the gang to come in and blow this one. 6-3 loss. Did you have a favorite play, a favorite moment that maybe summed up the win? Benintendi's awful throw on a guy that literally is rounding second base to third. He's not even looking at third base. He's in left field, so it's an easy throw to him. And he throws it, to Joey Cora. At fucking third base.
Who was the third base coach of the Tigers. Not playing for the White Sox anymore.
Maybe he threw it to Alex Cora. Maybe he's throwing it all the way to Boston.
Might as well
just a pitiful throw from Andrew Benintendi. So what really summed up the White Sox loss tonight?
And I know it was probably looked over. I'm sure a couple people saw it because it was frustrating to me. The first pitch of the bottom of the 6th inning is a slider up towards Gavin Sheets' chest. So, of course, he took that one. The second pitch to Gavin Sheets is right down the middle, out. The next player is Corey Lee. Ball, I think, hit, grounded out on the third pitch of the inning. The batter after that sees what happened in those two at-bats where those guys saw one strike each. Swings at the first pitch, grounds out. 4 pitches in the bottom of the 6th inning. You just had Jared Schuster get out of that 6th inning, the top of the 6th inning, and now he has to get his punk ass right back out there for the top of the 7th inning. Guess what happens? 5 runs by the Tigers right there. Probably because Jared Schuster sat down and got right back up. Because you're not playing team baseball. You're not understanding. I can't just be up here swinging freely when a 2-1 lead. I got to try to work this account so my guy can have a break, can have a blow, can take some solace in, okay, my guys are going to get me some runs here, or at least have some tough at-bats so I can have some time to get my arm back, have some refractory time. But no, the White Sox in that 6th inning just acted like, hey, I want to get this season over with. And I understand the urge to do that, but your professionals have better at-bats. And that 6th inning was the microcosm of the whole year. And I didn't like it at all from Gavin Sheets. Gavin Sheets, I don't have that much blame. Saw the first pitch that he liked, hit it. But the other people have a responsibility, especially Dominic Fletcher, a young player, 26 years old, has to see. This team has seen 3 pitches this inning. Let me take 1 or 3 of these. If I strike out on 3 pitches, cool. At least lets my guy Jared Schuster get an extra blow. But that was the microcosm I saw, and then immediately the Tigers scored 5 runs the next inning.
Matork taking it out to
he absolutely
center field.
Him and Parker Meadows left no doubt.
Yeah, hey, and Andrew Benintendi left no doubt as well. 6-3 loss for your Chicago White Sox. Let's head out to Guaranteed Rate Field and talk to CHGO White Sox beat writer Vinnie Duber, and you can read his work up at allchgo.com. And also, diehards, you can check out the White Sox weekly mailbag that is posted every single Monday. This week, Vinnie talks about Miguel Vargas's slump. He also talked about the White Sox 100 losses, but I guess that's outdated already, Vinnie. Hi.
Hey, guys. How are you tonight?
We're good. We shared this already on the show, but you weren't around, so we're going to show you again. Sarah, can you flash the predictions from before the season? Vinny, this got us a good laugh. All 3 of us were a little off, if you would say. August 26th, you had 71 and 91. Herb had 68 and 94. And I have correctly predicted the loss number for the White Sox on August 26th. But there, unfortunately, is 31 games left to play at 61 and 101.
Technically, you're not out, Sean.
Technically, I'm not out. Vinny, will they win their next 31 games? Go.
No.
Okay. Did Grady Sizemore comment about how the White Sox approached hitting tonight?
Yeah, not really. I mean, they got smoked again. I mean, this is kind of thing. I'll tell you what I did know is Grady Sizemore, last night was a little he used the word spicy. He said his wife evaluated the post-game press conference when he got home and said he was a little spicy. He was not too pleased with being asked repeatedly about the fact that they were at 100 losses, at that magic number of 100 losses. And tonight after the game, a little bit down. It seemed too. It seems maybe the smiley, positive Grady Sizemore has been chipped away at a little bit with some of the results here so far. Obviously, that's not the case pregame. He's back at it. He's bringing the energy as he has been, but it was a little bit noticeable to see a guy who stepped into this job just a little bit ago with such a kind of fresh feeling is already maybe getting a little, beaten down maybe a little bit by kind of the results that they've been getting.
Davis Martin scattered 5 hits in his 5 inning or 7 hits in his 5 innings that he pitched today. Saw a couple hangers there. It was windy early, and then it stopped being windy after a while because those home runs that I just mentioned a second ago were not winded, and they were not blown down by it. But how did Davis feel about his 5 innings that he threw out there, and what did Grady have to say about his outing?
Davis felt good. I mean, and as he should. The guy's got a sub-3 ERA. I think he's got 5 starts. It's something like 27 innings or something like that. I mean, he's been really good. He's been Davis Martin again, right? I mean, the guy from 2 years ago who was kind of so reliable, and you just kind of throw him out there, and it was like, oh, good job. He's doing it again, and I think that's a really positive thing for the White Sox. They might have found a guy not who's maybe gonna dazzle at the top of a rotation like Garrett Crochet, but a guy who they can plug in there and be confident that he's going to go give him a good performance. And, it was only 5 innings today. It wasn't the, longest start in the world, the most impressive start in the world. There were hits aplenty, as you mentioned, both before and after he departed. But, listen, he's a guy who has been able to turn in reliable, effective performances, and that's all you can ask for from a starting pitcher. Obviously, people like to see the wow numbers show up on Statcast and all of that, but get outs, that's the job. Keep runs off the board, that's the job, and he's been doing that very well.
I love watching him pitch. Yeah. I think that it's likely he'll be in the rotation for 2025. I mean, it seems like Hagen Smith, he might be ready for 2025, but I think opening day is probably a little bit too early. Noah Schultz, same thing, might be ready for 2025, but it seems like opening day a little bit too early. I think we can probably write in pen Davis Martin, probably write in pen our guy Jonathan Cannon,
correct.
Maybe pencil in Nick Nastrini. I don't know if there's anything lighter for Garrett Crochet, but you know, it seems like there isn't a ton of for sure slots outside of Cannon and Martin.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, obviously, you've got all these other guys who have made appearances. You mentioned Nastrini, but what about Thorpe? What about Bush, right? I mean, these guys are kind of, I guess, competing for those other spots, right? And there's nothing wrong with having that little bit of competition come spring training. I don't think any of these guys are going to be given those jobs, even Martin, even Cannon, right? And I think you're going to have a pretty wide open competition. I think a lot of people are probably assuming that Garrett Crochet gets traded. We'll see if that's what ends up happening or not. But if he is not a part of it, I don't think you can call anybody a lock. We can say people are, likely, like you just said there, and I think Martin is probably somebody who would be the most likely person to wind up in that starting rotation for next year, given the experience he has from a couple years back, in addition to what he's doing now. But there's going to be a lot of names that are there. What if somebody like Mason Adams has a great spring, right? I mean, you could put him in there. What if there's a few other guys that fall into that category as well. So. Schultz and Smith are probably a little further off. I agree with that. But the other guys, throw them all out there and see who sticks.
Today, the White Sox recalled Brian Ramos, and that's good for him. And I'll get to the later story that you touched on earlier in a tweet. But to me, it's confusing because of all the things that are going up in White Sox world. Miguel Vargas, who has been playing third for the most part since Grady Sizemore took over as a manager, and he sat down today in favor of Lenyn Sosa. And then we got Yoan Moncada set to start a rehab soon. So you wrote an article today about Miguel Vargas. What does all this movement around Miguel Vargas mean for him and his future playing time?
Great question, Herb. We had Grady Sizemore say that he would prefer to play Ramos at third base. He doesn't want to see him at a different position. He would prefer to play Vargas at third base, even though there's that versatility there with Miguel Vargas. He doesn't really want to see him at another position. He thinks he's good at third base. And then who's he start at third base tonight with both those guys on the roster, but Lenyn Sosa? You mentioned Moncada coming back. What are you going to sit down a guy who's as capable as Yoan Moncada, even though that might not be the best thing for your future? It's a very confusing situation over there at the hot corner, even before Moncada, or we even know that Moncada is going to be back in the mix. So, kind of weird. I think, again, for the second time this season, Brian Ramos got called up to the major leagues because he's on the 40-man roster, first and foremost. You saw them get rid of Nick Senzel to clear a 40-man spot for a waiver claim they made today. And, Nick Senzel, who played one game since Grady Sizemore took over as manager. He played in one game. I believe that was 11? 12 games? He played in one. But he's off the 40-man now, and he's off the active, so they have to replace him with an infielder, they think, in their mind. And so they brought up an infielder who's on the 40-man, which is Brian Ramos. So certainly Brian Ramos has earned it. He's had a hot streak at AAA. He's hit very well in the month of August down in the minor leagues, but an odd thing to do to bring a guy up who was getting into a groove as an everyday player in the minor leagues and maybe not giving him everyday at bats. You've got a guy in Vargas who you've got Chris Getz saying on Friday how committed they are to his development at the major league level, and your interim manager says they want to see him every day at third base, and then you bring up somebody who's going to eat into that playing time. It's a very, very peculiar situation. We'll see how it plays out. Maybe Brian Ramos is just here to be a backup, in which case I think that's kind of a disservice to him. But if you do it the other way, that's kind of a disservice to Miguel Vargas, or maybe they just end up moving Miguel Vargas around a little bit, right? Maybe he does play some second base, maybe he does play some outfield, maybe he does get some time at designated hitter because he can do all of those things. And it's just, he's only plays third when Ramos isn't playing. But all of that is a possibility, and then you've got this looming Yohan Moncada return that could happen in September as well. So I agree. It's very strange. I think the best way you could sum it up is the old Abbott and Costello routine. I don't know third base.
New manager Grady Sizemore figures out that only one guy can play third base.
They outlawed the shift, too, so they can't all play over there.
Yeah. Hey, I'm still waiting for Yohan Moncada to play right field, as Chris Getz claimed that it was going to happen in the offseason.
Hey,
Dominic Fletcher's there.
He don't have a future here. Might as well play him somewhere else. DH.
Pay him his money and get him out of here. Oh, speaking of that, before we hit the ad break, as we should, paying people money. I went on a little 3-minute rant after we kicked Vinny off the show about the woman that sued the Chicago White Sox for the shooting that happened last year. I was like, why don't you just pay her the $50,000? Well, lawyers explained to me that for a civil suit to file, you have to put an amount you're seeking, but the actual release of the law firm says in excess of $50K. Okay. So $50K is what you write to just to submit the form, but it's not just $50K that she's looking for. So to answer my question, it's because it's not $50K, and that's why they just didn't pay her money. So there you go. Anyways, let's take a break. Shop Ray Chevrolet and secure the right new Chevy and price for you. That's because their new car clearance event is going on all month long, and you can shop their huge selection of new Chevy models now at new low prices. Visit our partner this August at their location on Route 12 in Fox Lake at raychevrolet.com. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, and right now you can get 0% financing and make 0 payments until 2025 and put $0 down and find 0 hitting fees, all on new Chevrolet models, or cruise into August your own way and shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. And if you've heard of Ray Chevrolet, then you've also heard of Race Price Promise. They're guaranteed to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever with no price changes, no add-ons, and no hidden fees ever. That means the incredible prices we're talking about now, you can expect to see the very same when you shop Ray Chevy in-store or online. So shop the new car clearance event all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Rugged Road. There it is. Our friends over at Rugged Road are dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. And the best part, they're floatable. One of the most unique features of Rugged Road coolers is their ability to float upright, and you'll never lose a drink. Their lightweight design is unlike other heavy-duty coolers. Rugged Road coolers are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip without compromising on performances, and their durability and dependability has them crafted to handle the toughest environments. Their coolers are built to last, ensuring they can keep up with any adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for 7 days, but oftentimes much longer than that. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. They're reliable, they're durable, and they're built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code CHGO for 10% off.
Good job.
Thank you. Sorry. Got to catch my breath. All right. Vinny, there was one question that was asked a little bit earlier. We saw Kai Busch be optioned down. A pitcher did take his place in Sammy Peralta, but the issue, Busch, a rotation arm, Peralta, a bullpen arm. Do you expect it's just Chad Cool time or Tuki Toussaint time, or will there be a different Charlotte name coming up soon?
Grady said it was a possibility that it could be somebody else coming up to fill that spot. I believe Thursday is the next turn that they would need that starting pitcher for, I think. But The idea being that they just needed a bullpen arm. They've been using them a lot lately. They needed another one, and they'll figure it out when they get there. Usually they wait to see which long guys they use over the course of a few days. If they've got one handy come Thursday and fully rested, then maybe it's just a bullpen day with a long guy kicking it off, or maybe they do call somebody up if they need that.
And then someone brought up Thorpe. We talked about that yesterday, but just for people who think, hey, maybe Drew Thorpe is ready to come back, that doesn't seem likely, right? Or at least this week.
Nah, they're kind of slow playing, both him and Jordan Leisure. It doesn't really seem like they are in a hurry to get those guys back. They really want to just make sure they get them healthy and figured out, and they're really not trying to rush them.
Speaking of the rotation, tomorrow is a start for Garrett Crochet, and Gary Sizemore had something to say about whether or not this is might be his last start of the 2024 season. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah, I don't know if he was just speculating, but he was kind of talking in terms that made it sound like they could consider shutting Garrett Crochet down eventually. I don't. It doesn't sound like that's going to happen right away. He said they haven't had those conversations yet, or at least he hasn't been a part of them. But he said, listen, he knows that they're protecting him. They know that it's getting late in the season. They know what the innings base is, and they know that they're going to continue to dwindle his workload down even further. We've seen him kind of limited to 4 innings here over the last couple months, or month or so, right? 2 months kind of thing. So they're going to continue to shrink that even further, it seems like, as they move along. And he said that maybe it would be under consideration that they would just shut him down, but he said, I hope not. He wants him to keep pitching, and I think it still seems to me that the plan would be to let him go the full season, even if you're not going to be letting him pitch that much. At least let him pitch every 5th day, but we'll see what they end up doing. There's still a month left in this season.
I know that you probably didn't get too much details, but it doesn't seem like they would, find that rest by moving him to the bullpen. I know Crochet's obviously said, I want to be every 5 days. He'll be a starter, right?
Yeah.
But you probably see him for maybe 2 innings rather than the 4 innings that we've been seeing, like just less and less.
Could be. That's what it made it sound like.
Fun. Cool. You're going to need more long guys. So Chad Kuhl, Tuki Toussaint. You should be
Justin
buying houses
Anderson.
at this point. He's
hey,
good for one.
Michael Soroka is on a rehab assignment too. So there you go.
Our guy, Rock Soroka. All right, cool. If we could go, we're on the pitching group, so let's just ride with it. Sarah, could you flash the Davis Martin graphic that I had you made? Davis was fun again. I really enjoy watching him. 21 times he used his changeup, 21 times he used his four-seam, 19 times he used his cutter, 18 times he used his slider. The changeup and slider both graded well according to @TJ Stats. A 103 TJ Stuff Plus on the slider, a 101 on the changeup. And while the four-seam and cutter aren't wowing and aren't above average, with an 88 TJ Stuff Plus on his four-seam and a 99 on his cutter. Still effective enough. He's able to locate. He's able to get a decent amount of whiffs on those pitches, and he's able to be within the zone. I think, too, that 88 is a little bit concerning, but we've seen him throughout this year have a better arsenal and a better Stuff Plus, at least from his fastball. His fastball this year was around 93 Stuff Plus. In 2022, it was around 89. So it does seem like his fastball is a little bit better, even though that 88 is a little but that fastball was up to 97 at one point. So I think it's just mainly about finding a consistent shape and finding some consistencies within that pitch itself. So if he can have this above average slider, have this above average changeup, and then have either that cutter or four-seam fastball become above average, we might have a guy.
I am very encouraged by his pitching this year. And as Vinnie said, sub-3 ERA. We remember what he did in 22, and don't look at that ERA because it was blown up by that last game. He's coming off of Tommy John surgery still. And so I would think that just by getting further and further away from that May 2023 surgery, the arm strength will be built up, and maybe he can have a major league like average fastball, 94, 95 sitting there, and that would make that changeup even more devastating. And you went over the kick change that he throws now. I don't know who he struck out. Maybe it was Kerry Carpenter in one of those innings in the third. Just threw like a 91 mile per hour, middle of the zone changeup that just fell off the table. Like, if you could do that, good luck. Good luck, people. So all he needs is length, because in the 4th and 5th inning, I think he got 2 outs in each of those innings quickly, and then subsequently gave up hit. And that's what he gave us his only hit in the 5th inning, where he gave up 3 straight singles to the Detroit Tigers.
And 2, that highlight came up to me. It was Carpenter, just nasty changeup diving out of the zone. And Michael Rosen, who blogs for Fangraphs, quote-tweeted the video of the changeup and said, at Sabre Seminar, which is held in Chicago.
Just happened this weekend,
I did not know that, yeah. It's like $140 to get in with lunch. I'm good, thank you. But it sounds fun.
All the smartest people in baseball there.
Somebody to bankroll it. But at Sabre Seminar, I asked Brian Bannister why he thought Martin was a good candidate to steal Birdsong's kicks change. He noticed that both of them had a stabby, tricep-dominant arm action and a preference for working the outside of the ball. So I'm glad that guy's on our team, because I don't know what any of that means.
No.
And Brian Bannister does, which is a good thing.
That was just a bunch of words put together.
Yes.
And those nerd people like, I understand it perfectly.
So I think like when you see Davis come over, it kind of looks like he's stabbing like that. I guess what it means. So
Okay,
I think he's saying like he's using his triceps coming over. Birdsong does something similar, and then because he's on the outside, and then it's just kind of preference of holding the ball. So you see that he has a good slider, cutter, changeup, right? Mm-hmm. All of those working the outside of the ball. He even throws a curveball as well. So I mean, I kind of understand it, but Brian Bannister understands it better.
We got to send you next year.
Czar of pitching.
I'll sponsor your $140 if
Let's go.
Whatever Sabermetrics nerd convention is in Chicago next year.
I could go be man on the street.
Yeah.
All right, fun. All right, maybe we should talk about somebody that's been hot so far since July 14th. This man has an OPS above 800. If you look at Fangraphs, you may see Andrew Benintendi as a top 20 outfielder in weighted runs created plus since July 14th. He hits his 14th homer of the year. I mean, I know Benny was obviously miffed that you asked him about 100 losses, Vinny, but is he walking in all Benny biceps after hitting number 14? Strutting in like Vince McMahon?
I don't think anybody really walks like that after loss 101. The ball went out of the park, didn't it? And it has done that 14 times this year. I mean, listen, here's a guy that. Listen, I don't think anybody's going to be impressed with 14 home runs in Major League Baseball in 2024. But considering the guy only had 5 last year, right? I think 14 is an obvious improvement. I know Herb is sitting there counting his money from Sean on this one, but listen, he's produced, which is something that not a lot of White Sox hitters can say. Not just on the season, which of course is true, but even in stretches like that, there haven't been a lot of hot streaks this year for White Sox hitters. That he is on even something like one is notable. But everything's relative, of course, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh.
I looked up his stats today, and last year, he's actually worse OPS-wise than last year.
He's been awful.
It's so terrible.
His average last year was 262. This year it's 211, and that's not including the hit today. I mean, his on-base percentage, which led the team last year, was 326 and was horrible. Now it's 268.
He got hotter than shit to just be worse than last year.
His slugging percentage is around the same, 356 and 357. OPS plus 88 and 75. And hey, if you look, again, since 2023, there's been 42 outfielders that qualify for Fangraphs leaderboards, and Andrew Benintendi in weighted runs created plus 41 of 42nd, only in front of Brenton Doyle. But Brenton Doyle has a 4.2 WAR because of his glove. Andrew Benintendi with a negative 1.6. The only person with a negative 1 WAR in this category is Brian De La Cruz, who has gone to his second team. So, I mean, hopefully it is more than just a streak. Hopefully he's over the wrist injury. Hopefully he's over the Achilles injury. But that even seemed like he was just nursing it quietly, and it took us like a month to figure it out. I mean, what if he, tweaks something tonight, rounding the bases like he did last time in Milwaukee? I don't know. It's tough to put stock into a guy that for over 200 games has been bad.
I mean, maybe, and this is just a wish casting by me, this is what the Benintendi will be getting from the July 14th date you stated on for the 5 years of the contract. I would hope so. And the year and a half that we got of him was just the worst part of the Benny contract. Let's just wish that. I hope that is the case. Let's go more positive. The White Sox, sorry, go ahead.
I think he just played in his 259th game. So tomorrow will be his 260th.
Yeah.
Do you want to do his first 260 versus last 260? more homers. So what, he'll be at 19. So in his first 260, will he hit more than his last 260?
Yes.
19 versus question mark.
Easily. I'm not betting yet. But
Yes.
let's go with the positivity. The White Sox today, remember when they picked up Nick Senzel, all of us were like, what the hell are they picking up a 30-year-old washed up player? That's garbage. Today, Jacob Amaya got picked up. That made more sense. I think the guy's only like 24, 25 years old, highly touted a couple years ago, a middle infielder with a glove-first perspective and gets on base. What did Grady Sizemore have to say about the young player, if anything, before the game?
Grady Sizemore was not even asked about Jacob Amaya. Grady Sizemore obviously is not involved in the front office transactions. But if Jacob Amaya gets here, I'm sure he will have something to say. But yeah, listen, these are the kind of things that they've been doing all year. These sorts of, throw something at the wall and see what sticks. And I think here's another guy that you can see if something sticks. They just did it with Eniel De Los Santos, picking him up off waivers, and now they're going to go ahead and do it with Jacob Amaya. So, listen, I think certainly you can point to this move as a far more understandable one than going out and signing Nick Senzel and then not playing him at all.
Yeah, the Nick Senzel thing is just we tried nothing and we're all out of options. We have no idea what to do. I'm not too jazzed about Amaya. Are you?
Not really, but it makes more sense to. That's a move to throw on the wall and see if it sticks. Nick Senzel didn't make any sense at all. Maybe you have something out of Amaya. More than likely not. But that makes more sense, though, as a fifth infielder that you can maybe use eventually. You knew Nick Senzel was going to suck.
Yeah, but you know this team, though. Nicky Lopez is going to get all the playing time. They're not even going to try out Amaya. So, I mean, they have all this backlog at third base with Ramos, with Yoan, with Miguel Vargas. You have Sosa, who's playing third tonight, who looked decent at second base. You have Baldwin, who's playing second base today. You have Lopez playing shortstop. Like, where is Amaya going to play? I mean, you got to cut the cord with Nicky, I think, at some point. I don't know if that happens. Maybe Nicky's just, good old guy, affable, and just be, all right, hey, I played 140 games. I'll sit on the bench for the next 31, but I don't know if there's going to be playing time for Amaya or if there's going to be playing time for Lopez. Makes sense if they were going to give Amaya playing time, but they didn't give any playing time to Senzel.
I don't even think they assigned him, did they? I think they just picked him up. Right?
Not yet.
Okay.
They've got a couple days. They got a couple days to figure that out, I think.
Okay.
What is he not immediately added to the 40-man, or is he a minor league pickup?
He is on the 40-man, but he doesn't have an assignment yet. The same thing happened with De Los Santos. They picked him up and they didn't assign him for a couple of days.
Okay. All right. So we'll see. All right. I do have a question that was coming from Sox Machine's latest episode. They debated on whether Gavin Sheets and Andrew Vaughn have a place on the 2025 Chicago White Sox. If I had to throw it out to you guys, Vinny, we'll start with you. Who is more likely to be on the 2025 White Sox, Andrew Vaughn or Gavin Sheets?
That's a great question. We were actually talking about this in the press box today, too. It really is a great question because I think you probably get more trade interest in Andrew Vaughn, but you're still selling so low that do you even do it, right? Is it worth keeping him around, hoping he hits something and then trying to get rid of him? Versus Sheets, who you can probably go find yourself another Gavin Sheets somewhere else if you need to, right? So I would maybe say Vaughn for that reason. They've invested more in him maybe, and they maybe would try to keep him around. But Vaughn, I don't think, has done anything this year to, indicate that he's a guy that they should be building around, that he needs to be part of their long-term future. I really don't know. If you were drawing up a plan for a 2025 roster and trying to give yourself the greatest benefit for the next contending White Sox team, if either of those guys belong on it, right? Just because I don't think I'm not sure either of them has a place or has done enough to warrant a place. Certainly their contract could let them have a place, I guess, but they really haven't done anything that says that person needs to be part of this moving forward. Other than the fact that they're both two, good guys in the clubhouse and guys that the players like, and they're good to have around. But from a production standpoint, other than the fact that Andrew Vaughn is probably the best. I mean, if you get rid of Luis Robert Jr. in a trade, Andrew Vaughn's probably the best hitter you have left, but what sort of, bar is that to clear, right? So I think I'd probably answer your question with Vaughn, but I'm not sure that he is, staking a claim to a, guaranteed premier spot on this team.
Are you asking me which one do I think should be on the team next year, or which one do you think the White Sox will keep on the team?
Give me both answers.
Answer, I think, if the White Sox, I think they think that Andrew Vaughn's a better player and that he would be, if it's either or, I think they would keep Andrew Vaughn. But if I were them, you can get similar, if not better production from pick a first baseman. Maybe if you get 140 games for Tim Elko next year, you probably get same offensive production from him that you're getting from Andrew Vaughn. And Gavin Sheets has 3 more years on his contract while Andrew Vaughn only has 2. And if we're doing trade analysis, you're going to get more back for Andrew Vaughn than you would get back for Gavin Sheets, even though, as Vinny pointed out, you're going to get peanuts for Andrew Vaughn because he's not anything after 4 years.
I mean, they're both bad players.
Yeah.
I just don't want to watch them anymore. And I mean, hey, if you want
to
try to ride out
of terrible first baseman,
yeah, if you want to try to ride Vaughn out for a little bit more, that's fine with me. I know Sheets has some options,
yes,
but still, I don't need to see him in Charlotte. I had a realization yesterday or today that Gavin Sheets is just Adam Lind, but bad. You guys remember Adam Lind, Toronto Blue Jay great?
Yeah.
Played first base, played left field, Muncie, Indiana legend. Just kind of way too big for right field, but it was a little too slow for first base. Always seemed like he could probably hit like 40 homers, but I don't think he ever topped out over 20. Just seems like a Gavin Sheets style of guy. And even then, I mean, Gavin Sheets can't even get to 20. I mean, Gavin Sheets has never had a season with an OPS plus over 100. So I don't even really know what we're doing here. Like,
didn't Adam Lind make an All-Star team?
No, but he was 15th in MVP voting in 2009. He won a Silver Slugger, which Gavin Sheets is not. There's no silver sheets anywhere. But yeah, I don't know. I really would like to see this team completely overhauled. I don't need to see Nicky Lopez leading off anymore. I don't need to see Andrew Vaughn, missing a 3-0 fastball down the middle again. I don't need to see another slap single from Gavin Sheets into left field that's like a 73-mile-per-hour exit velocity. I have no choice but to suffer with Andrew Benintendi for the next 3 years. So please give me these wishes. Put Moncada at first base in 2025. It's different. I saw your face. It was a joke.
I mean, you're releasing him for the $6 million, whatever, and then re-signing him for like $8 million. That's what you're doing.
It's not my money.
I understand.
I mean, if you're getting rid of Andrew Vaughn, you're getting rid of Gavin Sheets, you're getting rid of Luis Robert Jr., you're getting rid of Garrett Crochet, you got rid of Eloy Jimenez, there's nobody on the team making money. So just give him his $25 million. And then your payroll's like $32.
Just don't pay people just because you're not paying other people.
Hey, it's not my money. Anyways, White Sox Tom says, why not bring up Montgomery at this point? Again, when we're talking about Vargas, you're talking about Ramos, Sosa, Baldwin. No one really for him to play. So maybe 2025. I know you talked to Paul Yanish, and we'll bring that on tomorrow's show. But anything specifically on Colson before we wrap this up, man?
I mean, yeah, listen, these guys don't talk in terms of when they're going to come up. Obviously, he continued to mention the struggles that Colson has had offensively. He complimented the defense that Colson has been playing. But, I don't think there's a rush to get him up here. And he said as much, that they're not really trying to hurry him up here just to get him up here. I think that they want to see certain things, and while he didn't really go into great detail what those certain things are, they know that he struggled this year. They're happy that he's played a full healthy season, but I don't think they see the need for him to get up here to the major leagues before the end of this season.
All right. You got anything else?
No.
Vinnie Duber, drive safe from home from Guaranteed Rate Field. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. The Rangers will be coming to the south side of Chicago as the White Sox and Rangers open up a 3-game set. We will be back tomorrow to recap Game 1 of that series. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him at HectorWall23. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him at HectorWall23, or no, at Vinnie Duber. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show.
Sometimes Herb retweets me, so I guess you could do that.
That's true. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Follow the show at CHGO White Sox. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with us. We will talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.